Welcome, 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 family. We got this live edition today. I hope that there's something that will resonate with you. You know, the question is asked, the hardest project management knowledge area to master. Now, we all know that there is 10 knowledge areas. But see, I put a twist on this because what I realized is that there's one thing to master a knowledge area in the PMBOK, but when it comes to real life, meaning doing real project management, meaning being a pragmatic project manager, what comes with that? What does that look like from a knowledge area base? So the goal today, we're going to just unpack this and then we'll see what happens. First, let's make sure that everybody is on the same page. If you're not aware, there are 10 knowledge areas. Project integration, which just basically means ensuring all project components work together seamlessly for a cohesion and synergy. Project scope management, this clearly defines the work required and controlling any changes to maintain focus. Number 3, project schedule management, developing and managing the project timeline and ensure timely completion. Number 4, cost management, develop and control the project budget, including forecasting, monitor expenses, and managing changes to maintain financial stability. Number 5, quality management, define quality standards, measure performance, and implement processes to ensure deliverables meet stakeholders' expectation and organizational change. Number 6, resource management, optimize the use of human, material, equipment, resources to maximize efficiencies, productivity, and value delivered throughout the project lifecycle. Number 7, project communication management, ensure clear, concise, and timely exchange of information with all project stakeholders. Number 9, project risk management, proactively identify, analyze, and respond to potential risks to minimize their impact on project success. Number 9, project procurement management, effectively manage contracts and vendor relationships to secure required goods and services. And number 10, project stakeholder and management, engage with influence key stakeholders to maintain alignment and support throughout the project. Now, I'm wondering which of those 10 that I've just rattled off real quick, I shouldn't say real quick, but rattled off in a sense that which of those knowledge areas? Is it stakeholder management? Is it maybe procurement? Is it cost? See, a lot of times what we don't understand is that the one that we really kind of overlook a lot of times is the one that is going to be the answer. What do you mean by that, AD? Well, there is a knowledge area that touches all of the different process groups, from initiating to planning to executing to monitor and controlling and closing. There's only one knowledge area. Well, yeah, one knowledge area that touches all of these areas. Do you want me to give you a minute to think? Do you want me to bring in the Jeopardy music? Do, 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 do. Okay, time's up. Anyway, I'm going to unpack that knowledge area today and see what your thoughts are regarding it. Here we go. So the hardest project management knowledge area is integration management. See, integration management stands out the most challenging family knowledge area for project managers to master. See, because it requires a lot of coordination, synthesizing all project management knowledge area, from scope to time to cost to quality and so much more. And this has to be in a cohesive, undefined project. While each area has its own complexity, let's be honest. But integration management demands, it requires an overarching view, ensuring that all components work harmoniously together through consistent decision-making, trade-off balancing, and adaptation to changes. Now you're asking me, well, okay, D, well, why is integration management is the hardest? Well, maintaining a holistic perspective is crucial as a project manager. But when it comes to integration management, it involves navigating the intricate web of relationships. Ooh. See, I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, stakeholder management is going to be the one, but it would if integration didn't touch stakeholder management, because one of the items that you have to deal with is you're dealing with stakeholders as you're putting together your project charter. That is the initial really aspect of where you're connecting with stakeholders. Interdependencies that exist across a project. Effective integration requires a project manager to carefully monitor and control how all the moving parts of a project interact, adapting as needed to ensure the project's overall success. So I'm going to break this down in a different way. I haven't seen anyone do this yet, so I may be doing something that I don't know. It could go well or it can't. So let's jump right into it. Point number one. Since we had 10 knowledge areas, I'm going to give you 10 points to back that up. And then, of course, my transformational remarks, and I'll keep it at a very high level. Coordinating across multiple knowledge areas. Integration management requires, as we talked about before, just a balancing act of balancing multiple project components from scope, schedule, cost, etc. You can talk about risk, all of the different knowledge areas, often with competing priorities. Now that is key, family. See, one of the things happens is when you are leading a project, and if you don't have if a team is working on multiple projects, meaning, okay, I have John as a project team member, and he is working on 2 other projects. I'm competing with those other projects. Which one of the 3 projects he's working on is a priority? Better yet, which one of those is he going to give his time to out of those 3 the most and be most present? Here's my actionable tip. Break the project into phases. During each phase, conduct integration reviews and ensure alignment across all knowledge areas. Most important, use change control board to monitor any alterations and their potential impact on other areas. Family, this right here is huge, because as you're leading projects, you're going to have the ability to coordinate across multiple knowledge areas, where you may be at one moment in communication and then you'll find yourself back up at scope because somebody is either trying to do gold plating where they're adding additional features and benefits that the customer never asked for. That's what gold plating is. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to point number 2, stakeholder coordination and communication. Integration management requires close coordination with stakeholders, especially when there's a need for conflict. If you do not like conflict, you need to work on it. If you're going to be a project manager, you will consistently have conflicts. And some of the conflicts that you're going to have, you're going to ask yourself, why are we going back and forth on emails or even a call? This is something that we could have solved sooner than later, or we could have figured out a way instead of this bickering back and forth. But I digress. To ensure that the project stays aligned with its objective, here's my actionable tips, family. Hold frequent integration status meeting to address stakeholders' concerns. That is also project team members as well. Even though we're talking about stakeholders, it's important to understand their concerns. But what I also realize is just don't understand their concern. Document their concerns in a way to let them know that you're taking it serious. And if it's something that is sensitive, that they don't want out onto the public or written out, that you're still taking the actionable responses that's required in order to let them know that you're there to support them. Develop a stakeholder communication plan that keeps everyone informed of changes, decisions, and their implications on the overall project. Point number 3, continuous decision-making under uncertainty. As a central hub of decision-making, the project manager most frequently must make choices under uncertainty and balancing risks, resources, and stakeholder needs. What does that mean? That basically means that a lot of times there are going to be decisions that come into you that you're like, man, I don't know if I have enough information. Should I make this decision, or should I just continue to sweep it on the rug and keep going? But as a project manager, you need to be able, if you don't have the right resources in that room to help you make a decision, you need to get them in the room or on the call or on the email to make sure that you're making that informed decision. And a lot of times you're not going to have all the information, so you're going to have to make a tough decision. Here's my actionable tips. Establish a decision-making framework that allows for rapid and informed decisions. Use decision laws to track why certain decisions were made and how they impact other aspects of the project. As we shared before, I always recommend using a RAID Q log. Again, risk, that acronym stands for risk, action items, issues, decisions, and questions. This is very important. This helps you understand when a decision is made. You can always go back into to refer to it, as well as you want to make sure that this artifact is in a secure place. Point number 4, balancing trade-offs. Integration management also, or I should say, often involves making trade-offs between completing project priorities such as cost, quality, and time. You're constantly trading off. Maybe because your project is not considered a priority, that direct manager is only going to give you that project team member for 2 hours a week, or 1 hour a week, or per meeting. There's so many different things. So you have to be able to negotiate and make sure that you're making the proper trade-offs, because it's a balancing act. Here's my actionable tips. Prioritize decision-making by identifying critical project constraints early. Family, you want to do this early, and the other piece is often, because as the project is continuing to move on, something that wasn't a constraint when you were looking at your different constraints now has become a constraint. Some of the major constraints I've seen over my career has always been around, the most obvious one is time and resources. Those been the two. Yes, scope here and there, and cost, yes, but time and resources have been the major ones, because people want things faster than what is being delivered, or you don't have enough resources to do with the actual to actually finish the project or be able to balance all the different tasks. Work with stakeholders to determine which constraint has the most flexibility, and base trade-offs on that understanding. And again, I want to recommend here, it's important to read sales books and marketing books and things like that. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a book club on the books that I'm reading or I hear about, because I really think it's important. As a project manager, you want to think outside the box. Yes, different project management books are good. I'm definitely on board with that. As you can see, the books behind me, definitely want to pick you up a copy of them. Pick up a couple. I won't stop you. But The Magnetic Project Manager is one of those books. However, what I'm saying though, family, is the importance of reading. Managing change across the project lifecycle. Point number 5. Change is inevitable, meaning integration management ensures that changes in one area don't negatively impact others, maintaining the overall project cohesion. Listen, a lot of times change is going to happen, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've been doing this for so long that I know people hate change. And as a project manager, you have to embrace change, and then you need to sell that to your team as well as the stakeholders. Reason why is because changes make people do things that they're not comfortable in doing. Oh, I like that. And reason why I like that, family, is because when you have the ability to explain the reason, and always the way I always sell it to them is to say, hey, this is going to either save you on time, or this is going to save you on resource or cost. I need to find out what their lever is. Sometimes it's cost, sometimes it's time. So you need to find that lever. Here's my actionable tips. Implement a robust change control process that assesses how changes in one area will affect the others. My last one, ensure that all changes are documented, approved, and communicated to stakeholders. Listen, anytime a change happens, you want to over communicate, not under, but over communicate, to the point that they want to say, hey, we understood there was a change that happened. Great. Because a lot of times people will act like they didn't see their emails, or they didn't see the meeting invites, etc. Let's move on. Point number 6, aligning with organizational strategies. Projects often exist within the broader context of organizational strategic goals, ensuring that project remains aligned with those goals in an ongoing challenge. Family, one of the things is you will see what will happen is when you're leading a project, you have to be able to help the team understand, the project team, as sometimes even the stakeholders, the reason, the purpose, why are we doing this? And you need to lead them to the bigger goal. When certain times when I have issues with stakeholders and I see they're just not getting it, or project team members, I'll set up a one-on-one with them and say, hey, help me understand what the challenge is here of the bigger goal that you're missing here, because I want to make sure you're getting the proper support. Here's my actionable tips. Regular review project outcomes with senior management to ensure they align with organizational objectives. Number two, adjust the project scope or deliverables as necessary to stay aligned with the strategic priorities. See, one of the things that they don't talk about is that sometimes what can end up happening is you're leading a project and there can have been a change as far as compliance. Let's say, hey, you're no longer, and I'm just making this up, but you're no longer able to send emails without having some type of thing at the bottom of your signature that's saying, hey, this is coming from this particular organization. What that's basically what happens is you want to make sure that everyone understands that if a change has to take place, that you can communicate, like we were talking about earlier, communicate that effectively and update your project scope and deliverables with a proper change request. Just don't go update the scope or deliverable without proper change requests. All right, point number 7, balancing long-term and short-term project goals. Integration management often requires juggling immediate project tasks with long-term strategic goals, ensuring that neither gets overlooked. Here's my actionable tips. Set short-term milestones that contribute directly to long-term goals. Use milestone reviews to reassess project objectives and adjust as necessary to ensure alignment with the larger strategic vision. A lot of times, family, when you have, especially if you're doing a predictive, which is basically a waterfall type project, you will have all of these tasks and it just seems like it is never ending. So being able to break it down, it allows the team to see, as they say, there's light at the tunnel. Point number 8, maintain flexibility while adhering to plans. Integration management requires striking a balance between adhering to project plan and being flexible enough to adapt to new information or challenges. This is one of the things why I love the agile mindset, because of the different frameworks from Scrum to Kanban to XP, Crystal, etc. But the reason why I love agile is because of the flexibility. With waterfall, a lot of times people get so caught up in the plan that they're unwilling to make a change, even though they could see it's not working. So you have to have the courage and say, hey, we need to pivot. We need to make the adjustment. We'll follow the proper change management control process, but something has to happen. This is not working. Here's my actionable tips. Develop a flexible project baseline that allows for minor adjustments without derailing the entire project. As we talked about before, when you baseline your project, you are saying, hey, these are all the dates and the timelines that we agreed upon that we're going to hit. However, we're not going to be able to hit those dates. We need to do a change control and re-baseline the project. Use rolling wave planning to adjust future project phases based on new sites. Point number 9, risk management across knowledge areas. This is, this is a knowledge area, in my humble opinion, is the most slept on. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that a lot of times people don't take a risk management very seriously. They don't take it seriously as far as like, oh, when you bring up a risk, they're like, hey, I'm like, this is a risk going on, and we need to make sure that we are either going to take a positive or negative approach if this happens. What's our mitigation approach? So I really do truly believe that we need to take risk management more seriously. Integration management requires constant vigilance over potential risk across all knowledge areas, ensuring that mitigation strategies are aligned with overall project objectives. Actionable tips: develop a risk management matrix that maps risk across all knowledge areas, assessing their interdependencies. Regular update with the risk register and adjust mitigation strategies based on the project progress. Here's my last and final point, family: ensuring seamless project closeout. Integration management doesn't end, and it doesn't, until the project is officially closed. So that requires final coordination of all project knowledge areas to ensure nothing is left unresolved. That basically breaks down to say, family, we have to make sure everything is closed, from contracts to budget. Everything needs to be closed up. Here's my actionable tip. Create a project closeout checklist that includes integrating all final deliverables, conducting project post reviews or post project reviews, excuse me, and ensuring lessons learned are documented for future project. Here's my 3 at a very high level. I won't go too deep. Transformational recommendation, coordinating across multiple knowledge areas. As we know, you have to consistently dealing with different knowledge areas. You may be in risk one day, and the next day you may be somewhere stuck and lost in cause, because you're trying to make sure that what your budget is, or I should say actual versus plan. So if you plan for the first half to only spend $1 million, and you're looking at what you actually spent and you spent $2 million, we got a problem. All right, number 2, continuous decision making under uncertainty. There's a lot of times as a project manager, you're going to have to make decisions and you're not going to be comfortable with the decision. And I'm not talking about anything unethical. I'm talking about where the team is looking to you and they give you all the information. You're like, all right, well, this is what we're going to go with. This is the direction we're going to go in based off the information I have. And then the last one, balancing trade-offs. As we know, there's going to be certain trade-offs because, again, your project may not be a priority. It may be number 3 or 4 on that project team members list or that stakeholder. So you have to ensure that you have the ability to balance trade-offs. Well, family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I go by the name of ED. I tried to change it up of how to address this question regarding the hardest project management knowledge area to master, because I wanted to give you some real life aspect to it, as well as I wanted to break down how we can solve that. Well, I hope you enjoyed again. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity. You know my motto. Until next time.